Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, depending on where you are calling in. We have just gone live and I can see attendings popping into the room. I'm so excited that we have such a diverse group of people on the webinar today, connecting from all around the globe. I see Canada, Brazil, Chile, Costa Rica, Switzerland, Poland, Morocco, South Africa, Vietnam, India, just to name a few. There are so many more. Everyone, welcome to a Tech Data Exit Certified webinar. When you choose Exit Certified for your training needs, you can trust that you are getting award-winning quality taught by certified instructors on a modality that fits your schedule and needs. Next slide, please. And for our cloud resellers on the call today, Tech Data does not only offer training and certification, but a full wheelhouse of value like cloud management and orchestration, financial services, pre-sale technical experience, and many more to support your customers around cloud, data, and AI. If you want to know more about training or how we can help you, please contact us at ExitCertified.com. Next slide, please. All right, welcome to today's webinar titled Discover the Power of Data and AI with Azure. We are joined today by Sandra Marin. Sandra is the go-to market lead for Azure training and certification at Microsoft Worldwide Learning, driving best-in-class technical readiness and certification to support individuals and companies using Microsoft Azure. Now, before we get started, let's cover the functionalities. During the webinar, everyone's microphones will be muted. So if you have questions, please find the Q&A icon at the bottom of your screen to post your questions in the queue. We will have a dedicated Q&A session at the end of the presentation. Today's webinar is being recorded, and we're sharing a copy with everyone who registered to be here today. Finally, at the end of this session, we are sharing a limited time promotion to save you 20% on Azure Data and AI courses, so stick around to learn more. All right, Sandra, you can take it away.
Thank you, Michelle. Good morning. It's 7 a.m. here in the beautiful Pacific Northwest in the United States. So good morning on this side of the world. Good afternoon, good evening. I'm very happy to be sharing this time today. As Michelle say, I'm part of the Microsoft Worldwide Learning Organization, and I am going to share with you today an overview of what data and AI services we have in Azure and how companies and individuals and businesses around the world are using these services in real life to solve real business problems. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the Azure certification portfolio for this type of, for this solution area. So let's jump. To set context, let me start with the role of the Microsoft Cloud in digital transformation. Before we talk about Azure Data and AI, it's important to have context of all the Microsoft Cloud products and goals. You probably have heard this. Our goal at Microsoft is empower every individual and every organization on the planet to achieve more. In this next revolution of digital transformation, growth is being driven by technology. Our integrated cloud approach creates an unmatched platform for digital transformation. We address the real needs of customers by seamlessly integrating Microsoft 365, Dynamics 365, LinkedIn, GitHub, Microsoft Power Platform, and Azure to unlock business value for every organization, from large enterprises to family-run businesses. And the backbone and foundation of this Microsoft Cloud is Azure. Given the pace of innovation, we look forward to ensure that our investments in technology meet your needs. So we start looking way up in the future investment, that's Horizon 3. We think about features and capabilities that should become available within quantum. Today, we offer quantum services, offering pre-built solutions, software and quantum hardware. And this provides developers and customers access to the most competitive quantum offering in the market. So then that's the Horizon 3. Then Horizon 2, we see artificial intelligence, AI, and we see mixed reality capabilities. Today, we are already offering many features across both AI and mixed reality, but we are striving to build more in the future, from machine learning, knowledge mining, apps, agents, HoloLens capabilities. We are constantly working to advance technology, so we build services that meet your needs today, but also tomorrow. And then Horizon 1, that's where we are today. We have been evolving our products and services to become available sooner and faster based on your needs. So we invest all the time to add new services for our customers, our partners, for individuals, so they are able to keep the pace of innovation. So while we are looking at these horizons, we look at them in cycles. So this is a process. In Horizon 1, we see what customers are using today and what demand is, what is in demand and how demand is increasing. So we invest to be able to support the demand today. At Horizon 2, we invest in what is coming. And at Horizon 3, we see something that will come and then we start planning for it. So the cloud is moving fast and the pace of innovation continues to increase. And we are constantly staying ahead of the curve to ensure that we are meeting your needs today, tomorrow, and in the future. Now, you probably have seen this, but in case you haven't looked at Azure in a while, you might be surprised to see what we have these days. This is a high-level map of the class of services that we offer on Azure. We have well over 200 products and services. And you will notice that we have extended to the edge the ability to run application code in the cloud, but also in a seamless way, consistent way in the edge. This is what informs our investments. And we have products like Azure Stack, Azure Sphere, all the way to HoloLens and mixed reality capabilities. These are powerful edge devices. So you can have on-premises, in the cloud, and on the edge, on the device. So this is the kind of services that we offer today in Azure. And we also have developer tools. We have DevOps and great innovation in the developer area, as well as in the core infrastructure and platform as a service, services that we offer. So Azure covers all the needs for developers, for infrastructure, for new capabilities and innovation. So overall, there is a lot of innovation in Azure, and there is a very wide scope on what we offer as platform, as a service, and what you can do with this platform. Now let's focus on what we have on the data and analytics space first. So we offer a broad set of data services, and these data services are to support your needs to store data or to distribute data because you sometimes need the data stored in a place, but very often you need to have the data globally available. So we have from relational databases like SQL-based databases, and you can run these SQL databases on virtual machines, or you can have SQL databases directly on Azure, like SQL DB managed instance, or you can have open source databases. So we have a very interesting offer around traditional relational databases, but we also have offerings for non-relational databases like Cosmos DB. So a quick summary of what we have in the data space. So we have Azure SQL database, a relational database as a service. And that Azure SQL database is based on the Microsoft SQL Server database engine. We have Azure Cosmos DB, a globally distributed database service. We have open source databases. We have Azure database for Postgres. We have Azure database for MySQL, Azure database for MariaDB. All these are relational databases services based on the open source version. So we work very close with the open source community. So we are able to integrate very well with open source databases. So this is what we have on the database. So we have relational databases and non-relational databases like Cosmos DB or MongoDB. Now, let's talk a little bit on the analytics side. So we have taken the industry-leading data warehouse to a whole new level of performance and capabilities, and we are bringing together data warehouse and big data. And the way we are doing this is Azure Synapse Analytics. This is a limitless analytics services. This Azure Synapse brings together enterprise data warehousing and big data analytics. So you don't have to choose now. Azure Synapse gives you the freedom to query data on your terms. You can use either serverless on demand or provision resources at scale. Azure Synapse brings these worlds together with a unified experience that allows you to ingest, prepare, manage, and serve data for BI and to support your machine learning needs, your machine learning models. So this is a single analytics services that integrates management, security, and monitoring of data in a very easy way in a unified environment. There is a native integration with Apache Spark for big data processing and machine learning. So these two worlds are now together. So you don't have to choose now if you want to manage a data lake or a data warehouse. You can do both because Azure Synapse will allow you to do that. And there is another interesting thing. Azure Synapse is deeply integrated with Power BI. So there is a truly end-to-end analytics in a single service. And that helps data professionals to accelerate time to insight and accomplish more because you have now all the services from the raw data to actual insights with ingesting, preparation, management, and serving the data and doing the analytics and visualizing the insights with Power BI. So it's a very powerful and robust platform that we are proposing you. So this is what we have on the data and analytics side. Now let's move to the AI portfolio. So Azure AI is very interesting, but more than Azure AI, we have a Microsoft AI portfolio. So you can get secure and responsible AI capabilities with Azure AI. You can build mission critical solutions that can analyze images. You can understand speech. You can make predictions using data. And you can even imitate intelligent human behaviors because you can create bots, all these using Azure AI. So let's take a look at what is this. Azure AI is a set of artificial intelligence services that are built upon Azure and that are deeply integrated with other services in Azure for data, application development, compute services. So AI is a layer of additional services that are integrated with the rest of the platform. So that's the first thing. One of the most important services in AI is Azure Machine Learning. So we provide with Azure Machine Learning We are providing services for data scientists and for developers, and the Azure Machine Learning services allow these roles, data scientists and developers, to build, train, and deploy models. So if you want to start your machine learning models from scratch, you can do it. But we also offer pre-built, pre-trained models. So Azure Machine Learning actually brings 30 pre-built, pre-trained models across vision, speech, language, and decision making. So you can build from scratch, or you can use one of these pre-trained models. Whatever is your experience building models, we have you covered. And the other interesting thing is that with Azure AI, you can deploy anywhere. So you can deploy these models on premises, on the edge. We talked about edge devices before, or you can even deploy in other clouds that are not Azure, because you can use these models in containers. We also offer specific AI services for professional developers. So we have services like Azure Bot to create conversational AI-based applications. We have Azure Search, which is the only cloud app search built that has built-in AI capabilities, and this facilitates the creation of knowledge mining applications. We have Form Recognizer. This is a very cool service that is designed to work on a very specific type of documents, forms. So in forms, you have like keeper values, and Form Recognizer is created to understand forms and extract data. So this facilitates data entry, automation of data entry tasks. We also have Video Indexer. This is used to extract in-depth metadata from video and audio content. So you can play video, and with Video Indexer, we can actually get metadata. Another aspect that makes our platform unique is a Power Platform. And Power Platform is built on top of Azure AI, and Power Platform empowers citizen developers, business user, analysts. You don't need to be a coder, a developer. So with low code, point and click experiences, you can create apps with Power Platform. So Power Platform brings, for example, Power Apps, Microsoft Automate, or Power BI. With any of these services, you can build custom AI applications that can predict customer churn, for example, or you can create applications to automatically route customer requests, simplify inventory management. So you can build a lot of business applications with Power Platform, and you don't need to be a developer. So it's a very powerful and robust platform. Power Platform and Azure work very well together. So this allows companies and professionals to allow and empower everyone in the organization to collaborate and build AI applications. So we are making AI available to everybody. If you are a data scientist, a very expert developer, you can create amazing apps using the raw services. But if you are a citizen, a business analyst, you can still create AI applications with the Power Platform. And we also have AI capabilities in our other products like Microsoft 365, Microsoft Dynamics 365. Those solutions already have built-in AI capabilities as well. And we have a large network of partners, ISVs and system integrators that are creating their own solutions using these services as well. So our AI portfolio spans across services to create from scratch to finished solutions, either created by Microsoft or by our large network of partners. So let's take a look to how some examples of how companies are using these services to create real business solutions. So I'm going to show you a couple of examples, but a little bit of context. Now more than ever, enterprises are placing a high priority on data integration, especially to support analytics and business intelligence. So data is critical to, if you want to do analytics, business intelligence, AI, everything starts with having your data ready. So this is something that companies are realizing all the time. And if you want to improve business operations, delivery, manufacturing, supply chain, data integration is critical for those processes. So companies, enterprises are relying on data integration to support their analytics and BI platforms. They prefer to deploy data integration solutions from cloud platforms or from hybrid clouds. So we are seeing the evolution from the on-premises only to hybrid and cloud platforms. So I'm going to walk you through some of a couple of interesting stories. So the first one I want to talk is about Concentra. So Concentra, they did a product with Azure Data Factory. And what they did is that they had a large base of on-premises SQL Server, and particularly SQL Server integration services for their data integration. And they migrated that to Azure using Azure Data Factory. So their challenge was that they had a lot of customers that had different data sources and hybrid and multi-cloud environments. So Concentra's customers had different sizes, different infrastructures, and for Concentra to be able to provide services to their own to its own customers, it was getting very difficult to scale and to provide them services without having to add additional infrastructure, more service, more compute power. So they had a big data warehouse, and their data warehouse started to grow. So maintenance became a really challenge, a very challenging situation for them. So they needed to accommodate for that. What they did is that they built software as a service on Azure to automate data-driven workflows with SQL Server integration services in Azure Data Factory. So they created an easy-to-use cloud-based version of their data warehouse generator. And now their customers can redeploy their existing SQL Server integration services packages on premises. They can redeploy them on Azure, and they don't need to do any changes. So this allows an ISV like Concentra to provide a solution in the cloud to support their own customers integrating on-premises services like SQL Server and SQL integration services with Azure. So this is hybrid cloud. This is hybrid data. Now, another example is Milliman. They have an interesting story of unlocking the potential of human capital to drive business, not just to manage it. So their challenge was because they have a very complex set of insurance products and regulations, and that made that actuaries, which is the ones dealing with these insurance products, so they were having to deal not only with the complexity of the insurance products and regulations, but also with the complexity to understand insights to help insurance and other organizations to minimize risk and make better business decisions. So actuaries were having a lot of issues getting the right insights to support the business. The analytics were very sophisticated, and to support that sophistication, their grid computing was growing. So they were having to invest in a lot of hardware, on-premises hardware, to produce the scenarios that they needed to work in the insurance business. So what they did is that they built a software as a service on Azure to address modeling and reporting of large compute-intensive workloads. And they use Azure Data Factory to automate, extract, transform, and load processes and get real-time insight to financial data. So they move from a very complex and expensive on-premises infrastructure that they were having to invest on to keep their insight, to their analysis functions. They moved to a less expensive, more modern and robust cloud infrastructure to do the same. So this allowed them to less operational expenses, to have less operational expenses, to have faster services and products for the actuaries to actually make processes and take decisions. So this is basically using technology to enable people to do their job in an easier and faster way. And when these actuaries were able to analyze the data and get insights easier, that actually supported the business because they were able to provide business insights and business value in a better way. Now let's move to Azure AI. We have seen that all industries are facing major disruption and fundamental changes to the way they work. And this is thank you to AI. We can see here some statistics across multiple industries: retail, finance, healthcare, manufacturing. And these only tell us the big impact that AI is having all over our lives. So this is not only in business, but this also affects us, each one of us personally. So let's see some examples, very interesting examples of how companies are using AI to transform their business. One great story that I have here is ASOS. ASOS is an online fashion retailer. So they had two goals that were deeply connected. On one side, they have data model solutions, different data model solutions that they needed to integrate to be able to make decisions. And on the other side, they have a team of data scientists trying to work with these data models and they needed to provide a better collaboration model. They needed to provide a data model platform that allowed the data science teams to work easier and faster and to be more productive and to collaborate better. So they standardize on Azure machine learning to build the models that supports the fashion recommender for the company. So they create these models with Azure machine learning, and they started publishing brand recommendations for their 19 million customers. And they are using Azure Cosmos DB to have global scalability. So they are using all the AI and data services and analytics services in Azure to improve their online experience for the end customer. So they are using brand recommendations. They are identifying customer sentiment, and they are identifying customer trending shopping experience. So they are able to recommend better to their customers. And at the same time, using Azure machine learning, they are helping their data science team to actually work on these prediction models easier and faster. So this is helping your employees, but this is also helping your final customer. So they have achieved a great AI transformation that is driving the data scientist team to build models that before took them months, and now they are building models in weeks. And they are improving collaboration, and they are also bringing a much better experience to the final user. So Azure AI is allowing them to go on all the different stages of their business, from their internal team to their final customers. This next example is close to all of us these days, and this example shows us how AI is playing a critical role in healthcare. These numbers show how international healthcare organizations are using bots to help fight COVID-19. In a crisis like the COVID-19 pandemic, is not only important to deliver medical care, but it's also important to provide information to help people in the healthcare system to make decisions faster, to prevent health systems from being overwhelmed. So Microsoft's healthcare bot service is one solution that uses AI to help the Center for Disease Control in the United States, CDC, and other frontline organizations to respond customer inquiries. So if you use a bot to respond and to answer citizens' questions, you are freeing up doctors, nurses, administrators, and other healthcare professionals so they have time to provide critical care instead of just answering questions. At some point, yes, the doctor needs to talk to you, but a lot of the questions very often can be answered by this type of solutions like bots. The healthcare bot services is a scalable Azure-based public cloud service, and this service allows organizations to to build and deploy very quickly an AI-powered bot for websites or applications that can offer patients or the general public personalized access to health-related information through natural conversations. So the service is, so organizations, healthcare organizations in the world are using this service to expand their websites or their applications so they can implement these conversational AI solutions. And this is helping a lot in this pandemic that is affecting all of us. Now, let's move on because I wanna leave time for questions. So let's move to talk about Azure certifications for this area. Azure certifications are designed to validate technical knowledge and ability in current and in future industry job roles. When we were talking about data analytics and AI, we are talking about jobs that are available today, but we're also talking about jobs that will be available in the future. So Microsoft technology is evolving like that, and we are evolving our certifications to also allow you to prove that you have the skills for those roles today, but also for those roles that will come. So that means that when you explore and go for Azure certifications, you are ensuring that you personally or your organization have the right skills to address this current and future world. Azure certifications are for multiple audiences. We have certifications for IT pros, for developers, for data and AI professionals. And our certifications are designed to validate that any of these professionals have the skills that you need to cover all aspects of digital transformation, from managing on-premises, hybrid or cloud infrastructure, to innovating with best-in-class applications, to manage and to support infrastructure and applications with data and analytics, and everything with security. So let's take a closer look. We are gonna do a deep down on data and AI professionals and certifications for them. We're not gonna go in detail on the other ones. So let's see what we have for data and AI professionals. These are the certifications that we recommend to validate skills required to support applications and infrastructure with data and analytics. The first certification that I want to recommend, if you are coming from the on-premises or from the database administrator and management world, the certification that we recommend for you is the Azure Database Administrator Associate. This certification validates the skills required to plan, implement, design, optimize, and operate hybrid and cloud data platform solutions using Microsoft SQL Server and Azure Data Services. So this certification is the one, if you are in the database management world, this should be the one you should look after. Data in the cloud or hybrid data solutions. Then the Azure Data Engineer certification. If you remember, I talked about Azure Synapse Analytics and the importance of analytics. The Azure Data Engineer certification addresses this and is the skills required to integrate, transform, consolidate data from various structured and unstructured data systems into structures that allow you to build analytics solutions. So if you want to build analytics solutions, you need to have the data in the right way. The skills required to do that are the skills that are in the Azure Data Engineer certification. So how to prepare and have the data ready to build the analytics solutions. So you can see that these two roles, database administrator and data engineer complement. Now, the data analyst role is the third part. So with the database administrator skills, you manage your data. With the data engineer associate certification, you prove that you can prepare and organize the data for analytics. And the data analyst is the one analyzing, building the data analytics and visualization solutions. So these skills for the data analyst certification validate that you know how to prepare, model, visualize, and analyze data using Microsoft Power BI. So you have the full data and analytics space that we saw before covered with these three roles and certifications: Azure Database Administrator, Azure Data Engineer, and Data Analyst. Now, if we move to the AI world, we have two main certifications that we recommend here. The Azure Data Scientist certification, this validates that you have the skills needed to create and use machine learning models using Azure. Now, this certification doesn't prove that you are a data scientist. It proves that you can apply data science using Azure. So if you're a data scientist, if you build or if you work with machine learning models, this is the certification for you to prove that you know how to do with Azure. And the Azure AI Engineer, this is a very interesting certification because it's a great fit for developers and for data and AI professionals. This certification measures the skills that you need to build, manage, and deploy AI solutions that leverage all the AI services on Azure, cognitive services, Microsoft Bot. So this AI engineer is basically to prove that you have the skills required to build and manage AI applications and solutions. So you can see that we have certifications for the data and analytics space, and we also have certifications for the AI space. But what about if you're just starting? Like, what do you go if you are not ready there for this world? Not ready yet for one of these deep role-based or specialty certifications. So you can start with the foundations. In general, all our fundamentals certifications validate that you have the foundational understanding of Microsoft technologies. In the Azure world, we have three fundamentals certifications. We always recommend Azure fundamentals for everybody. The certification or the training if you don't want to go for the certification. If you are just starting on Azure, or if you are a cloud beginner even, we recommend that you consider the Azure Fundamentals Training and Certification to create and validate your foundational knowledge of cloud services and how Azure provides those services. So this certification and this training will help you for all the other certifications. It's not a prerequisite, but it will give you the right basis for all of them. If you are starting in the AI world, then you should go for the Azure AI fundamentals. You will be able to demonstrate your knowledge of common machine learning and AI workloads and how to implement them on Azure. You don't need to be a technical professional, a data scientist, or a developer to take the Azure AI fundamental certification. You might need some general programming knowledge, but you don't need to be an expert developer or a software engineer or data scientist for AI fundamentals. But it will give you the perfect fundamentals and foundational knowledge to demonstrate that you know and understand AI, machine learning, common AI workloads. Now, if you are more on the data side, data and analytics side, then we recommend Azure Data Fundamentals if you are starting in this world. So if you're a developer or a data and AI professional, if you are just beginning to work with data in the cloud, the Azure Data Fundamentals is the certification that we recommend for you, because it will help you reinforce and prove your knowledge of core data concepts and how these core data concepts are implemented using Azure Data Services. There is another certification that we recommend. It's not part of the Azure portfolio, but it complements really nice the roles in the Azure area. The certification is Power Platform Fundamentals. We recommend this certification if you are an Azure developer or if you are a data analyst, because this certification is foundational understanding of the Power Platform. If you remember when I was talking about the AI, the Microsoft AI portfolio, I talk about Power Platform. When I talk about data and analytics, I talk about Power BI and Power Platform. This certification will allow you to understand that world and to prove that you know, that you understand the core capabilities of this Power Platform, including Power Apps and Power BI. So we recommend this certification also in the data and AI world, particularly for data analysts and developers. This is our full portfolio. I only went deep here on the data and AI world, but we have certifications for IT pros, for developers. So you can go and take a look to other worlds if that's something that interests you. So we have certifications in the administration and developer side, architecture, that you can take a look. We're not gonna go in detail for those, but just I wanted to let you know that we have those as well. And our portfolio keeps growing. We review our portfolio several times a year to see where technology is going, to see what our demand, what our customers and partners are needing to build their teams and their solutions. And we review and refine our certification portfolio based on that. So we keep the pace of our certification portfolio with the pace of technology evolution that we saw at the beginning that Azure is having. We have a lot of resources to support you. And I'm not gonna go in detail here. You're gonna get all this information, but if you are looking just for general understanding of our portfolio, I recommend the resources at the top. We have a blog in the Microsoft Learn blog where we have very detailed information of all our certification portfolio, not just for Azure, but also for other solution areas like business applications, Dynamics, Microsoft 365. So that's one resource that I recommend. And we also have official curriculum to prepare for certifications that can be delivered self-paced online or also through learning partners like Tech Data and ExitCertified. And we have a lot of resources here, so you can take this with you. No matter where you are in your journey, there is a resource that will help you. If you are just starting, exploring, or if you are already a deep technical person, if you have the old legacy certifications and you're exploring the new world, if you are coming from the on-premises world to the cloud world, so we have different resources to help you in that journey. So this is the message here. And the most important resource that we have to support you and your companies and you personally in your skilling, in your upskilling journey or training and certification journey is learning partners like I've been invited to talk to you today by ExitCertified and Tech Data, one of our most important learning partners in the world. And companies like them, they work with you to identify what your needs are. Depending on your business goals, your training and upskilling needs might be different from somebody else, from a different company. Learning partners work with you, understanding where you are, what are your goals, where do you want to go. And they work with you to create the training and certification plan that is for you. So that is the value that a learning partner brings to you, that you don't need to figure out your journey alone. They have experience, they know, they are in your country, they know how you work, and they can work with you on your needs, and they can work with you on your plan, and they can create a customized plan for you depending on your needs. So we rely on learning partners to support our customers and to help you get better at learning, understanding, and getting training technology, so you can use it for to grow your business or to grow as an individual as well. So we invite you to start exploring this. Take a look at what are the roles in your company, what are the skills and the learning paths, what are your goals, where do you want to go, what do you want to do, what are your challenges today, and what do you need to learn and to upskill, how do you need to upskill to be able to solve those business challenges. So you can begin with self-paced training on Microsoft Learn. You can continue, and we strongly encourage you to reach to Tech Data and ExitCertified to identify and understand what they can do with you and for you, and how they can support your journey. We both are committed to help you and your team to develop the technical abilities you need to support your personal or your organization goals in today's cloud-based digital world. We are very excited to share this learning journey with you. We are here to support you. So Michelle, back to you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Sandra. As promised, we have a limited time promotion to save you 20% on your Azure Data and AI courses, like the popular Microsoft Azure Fundamentals, AI Fundamentals, Data Fundamentals, and Analyzing Data with Power BI, plus a full list of courses, which I am going to link in the chat window for everyone now. As a reminder, this is a limited time offer. Your training must be booked by May 28th and attended by September 30th. You're going to use promo code Azure20 at checkout. And again, I want to invite you to visit our website for all of those promotion details. Everything has been linked in the chat window. All right, I think we're going to move into questions. We have a few queued up already, but I want to point out that Q&A icon at the bottom of your screen again for any questions that may be sitting with you now. To kick off our questions, Sandra, I have a question from a person who is already a solutions architect expert. This person is interested in exploring both the AI and the DP certification paths, but they want to know what is the current demand on Azure AI and Azure Data certifications. Specifically, what are the most popular courses? Where should they start?
It would be, so first, the demand is huge. So I think I show you some statistics of how data and AI is pervasive to every industry. So no matter what your business or your industry is, there is always an opportunity for data or AI projects and solutions. getting ready data or starting to build very innovative AI solutions. So I guess my answer is, maybe you're not gonna like it, is depends. That depends. Like, what has been your trip before becoming solution architect? Like, where did you come from? Did you come more from the data management world, or are you coming from the application world? If you are coming from the data management world, probably I would recommend the Azure Database Administrator. The data engineer actually is a very cool one that might be a good complement to solutions architect. So that would be the Azure Data Engineer Associate. And we just launched a new version of the exam for that one or 2 weeks ago. The exam is the DP 203. So that is one. But if you are coming more from the developer role, then the AI engineer is the one that I would recommend. And we also launched a new version of the exam, the AI 102, a couple of weeks ago. So depending on where you are coming from, one path could be better than the other.
Okay. So the person asking this question wants to get a little bit more specific. So what are the most taken certifications? Would it be the AI 900 or the DP 900?
Oh, the fundamentals. I think they are both performing equally same. Because they are both foundationals and you don't need a lot of experience. So I would encourage you to go and try the data fundamentals. And it's kind of like the same answer. That depends on where you are coming from or where you want to go next. Again, if you are more interested in core data, then it's data fundamentals. If you are more interested in AI, I would go for AI fundamentals. But because those two worlds are so big on its own, we see very good demand for both of them. I don't have numbers top of my head, but I think they are performing pretty well. Now, Azure Fundamentals, the foundational one, is by far the most popular one, because that Azure Fundamentals is for all roles, all areas, IT pros, developers, infrastructure. But when you double click on AI fundamentals and data fundamentals, they are both in very good demand.
Thank you. We have a listener who's based in Europe who asked, they are mostly interested in Microsoft's Azure Data Loss Prevention, the DLP solution, and Azure Rights Management System, RMS. They want to know where they can find more about these.
That's quite a bit technical question that I might not have the right answer. I'm not very familiar with the first solution that was mentioned, but Azure Rights Management falls into the security and management space. So it would be probably a combination of Azure administration related content and probably the Microsoft 365 portfolio, because that falls more into the security area. But I'm not that technically expert to answer that question, so I might have to skip that one instead of saying something totally wrong.
Sure. And for the person who did ask this question, I just want to bring your attention over to the chat window to see where you can explore all of the Azure related training courses in your region. All right, another question is learning on azure.com/learn sufficient to get ready for a certification exam, or is it necessary to take a course with a learning provider?
So actually, I'm gonna answer in a different way. All depending on the certification you are going for might be sufficient or no. If you are going for the fundamentals certification, any of the fundamentals certifications, you don't need experience. you just need to learn the concepts, and you can learn the concepts on Learn or with a learning partner. That depends on your learning style, what you like best. If you like self-paced on your own, or if you like instructor-led training, having somebody helping you with questions. So it's not just a matter of which one is better in terms of quality of content. Both content in Learn and the one delivered by learning partners, those set of contents are created from the same blueprint, so they will give you the same knowledge. For fundamentals, you don't need experience. So just doing the course either online or on Learn or with a learning partner will be sufficient. Now, if you're thinking about role-based certifications like the ones we show, like database administrator, data engineer, data analyst, AI, all the other ones, those certifications actually need job experience. So if you just take the training, most likely you won't pass the exam, because you need on-the-job experience with the platform, with the role. So these are deeper and more complex certifications because they are assessing more complex skills. So you can, and again, which one is better if the content on Learn on in the learning partner? The answer is the same. It absolutely depends on your learning style and how you want to adjust. There are different additional value that each one of them brings to you. On Learn, you can do it at your own time when you have free spare time at night at home, or if you like to be kind of like less structured and just kind of like you are more independent and you kind of like don't need the interaction with an instructor, then Learn is a good fit. But if you like more like that interaction and getting tips and tricks and best practices from real solutions, probably you will find those more with a learning partner in an instructor-led type of training. But for role-based certification and specialty certifications, just doing the training is not enough. You need experience with the platform and on the job. So we highly recommend that you approach your certification process on like the content and the training is just basically to reinforce what you already have learned and the experience that you already have. The certification is about proving that you know how to do something, not just that you know the concept of how to do something.
On the topic of real-time experience, would experience gained by data scientists on non-Azure open source tools like Python be considered relevant experience for Azure DS or AI engineer certification?
Yeah, actually, we if you take a look at the outline of the certification and the training content that we create for the certifications, Python is a big component of those certifications. So if you remember, I said the data scientist certification doesn't prove that you are a data scientist. It's called Azure Data Scientist certification because it proves that you know how to do data science with Azure. So if you have experience doing data science and building machine learning models with other platforms, you just need to come and reinforce that knowledge and experience on how to do it with Azure. Same for AI engineer. If you already are a seasoned developer doing and building AI solutions in other using other platforms or technologies, you need to come and complement that knowledge and experience that you already have, learning how to do it on Azure, and then you should have the skills at the level that we measure in our certification. So you should be fine doing this transition from other platforms and technologies to the Azure world.
One more question before we run out of time. Do you suggest that learners take the fundamentals courses before moving on to the associate level?
Depending on where you are, I always recommend the fundamentals, if not the certification, at least the courses, because you are covering your bases. You don't know what you don't know. You know a lot of things. Probably you have a lot of experience, but it's the fundamentals. I always consider like the checklist. So one exercise that I recommend is go to the fundamentals, either the course that we have with learning partners, like the ones that we see in the screen, or the ones on Microsoft Learn, and check the objective domains. Check what are the topics that are covered in those courses. And you might find that there are some that, oh, I already know this one. But you also will be surprised that are like, oh, I don't know about what is this. So that's why we always recommend the fundamentals training, because it's covering your bases. The role-based certifications assume that you are good with your basics. The role-based training assumes that you know the basics. So if you don't know the basics and you go for a database administrator course or certification and you don't know the core data concepts, then you're not gonna get the best out of that course, and you're probably gonna fail your certification. So it's always good advice to cover your bases.
Excellent. That brings us to the end of our hour. As a reminder, we've recorded the session and we will be following up with everyone with a copy of that recording. If there are any questions we couldn't get to, we will be following up. Thank you, Sandra. Thank you for everyone who attended today and all of our helpers behind the scene. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. And thank you for the invitation. I hope this was a good investment of your time, and wherever you are in the world, have a good rest of the day or a good night.